Hello, welcome back to the Brother Blog. If you haven't already, take a look at our channel. Watch some of our other videos. Feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, whatever you want.
Our video today is going to look at the teams ranked 11 through 16 in the USA Today poll. These are preseason rankings, obviously. So we'll get right to it. The first team will be number 11, the Oregon Ducks. They're the defending Pac-10 champs, and they're returning all 5 starters on the offensive line. And LaMichael James at running back, who's a very good player. He's underrated. He had a great freshman campaign, and he's coming back for his sophomore year, which can only mean better things. And you have to see him being sort of a dark horse Heisman candidate if the team has the success that they hope to have. They obviously have one main big problem, and that's losing Jeremiah Masoli, who was a heart of the team, a key quarterback, really a big-time player for them, and just sort of got kicked off the team.
Brutal loss.
Masoli. But
Story.
he's gone now, and they have to find a quarterback in order to support the run game. That way they're not stacking 8 guys in the box, and LaMichael James is getting hit before he even gets the ball. So the 5 returning starters on the offensive line is key, as well as the return of defensive end Kenny Rowe, who you may not have heard of. You've heard of Jerry Hughes from TCU. He went in the NFL draft. He had 11.5 sacks last year. Kenny Rowe also had 11.5 sacks. So his return, he'll be more known now if he can continue those stats. But the lost Jeremiah Masoli is obviously the biggest problem and the biggest thing you're going to look at.
Yeah.
So finding a quarterback will be their issue, and this team is untested until then. Their hard games include Week 9 at USC, Week 10 Washington at home, and Week 13 at Oregon State, the Civil War, which is always a great game. I see Oregon this year, 10-2. USC's a loss, I think. It'll be a close game, but if Jeremiah Masoli was there, I see him a national title contender, but USC, I don't think they do it. I think USC's motivated with the Reggie Bush problems. I think they want to make Bush know that they would have gone to the national title and really put a damper on his legacy. So I think USC beats them. I think Oregon beats Washington, and I think Oregon State also beats Oregon. I think it's a close game, but Jaquez Rogers and James Rogers, the wide receiver, Jaquez at running back, are 2 great players, and I think they outdo Oregon, and Oregon goes 10-2 this year.
You know, I think Oregon's a great team. Other than Jeremiah Masoli leaving, they got LaMichael James. 3 tough teams, to your point, at USC versus Washington and at Oregon State. I think that they will beat USC and Washington, but I think they'll get upset somewhere before then, whether it's a game against Arizona or Arizona State, Stanford, some other underrated Pac-10 team. And I think that the Civil War again will come down to the Pac-10 title, and Oregon State will take it this time. Our next team is the number 12 Wisconsin Badgers, who is sort of underlooked right now, I guess would be the word. But they're overlooked. They're returning 21 of 22 starters, which, in my opinion, is very, very, very good. Almost the best you can get.
Yeah, that's good.
And they were pretty good last season to begin with. So you got to think, what are they going to do this year with, their guys coming back? John Clay is obviously the biggest return. He's big running back. Big dude, he can just take off an open field, lower the shoulder, plow over a couple guys. Scott Tolzien, he's a good he's not the best quarterback, I guess you could say, but he is good enough to your point where they can't stick 8, 9 guys in the box and just kill the running back. You gotta watch the pass too with him. And John Clay, though, very good running back, 1,517 yards and 18 touchdowns last season. And Tolzien threw for 2,705 and 16 touchdowns, which isn't the typical quarterback, but, it's good. It's good enough, I guess. The 3 tough games for Wisconsin are versus Ohio State, at Iowa, and versus Northwestern, which is not a game really seen as a tough game for them, but I think versus Ohio State, obviously very tough game. They get them in Camp Randall, and I see that they're still going to lose this game. I mean, it'd be very tough. Well, it's going to be a very close game. John Clay, I see him having a big day, but I think Ohio State pulls it out of the hat. At Iowa, obviously, it's going to be close. It could be the Big Ten title on the line possibly, but I see Wisconsin still pulling through. And Northwestern, if Wisconsin can beat Ohio State and Iowa, they could potentially be heading to the national championship. But if they win this game, I think they're going to overlook Northwestern if it's like this, and Northwestern will take it to them.
So what do you say they do?
11-1.
All right, I got Wisconsin 9-3. They beat Northwestern. They lose to Iowa, Ohio State, and Michigan State. Michigan State will beat them this year. Those games are always close. They've been close the last few years. I think Michigan State will beat them. 21 of 22 starters is huge, but it's not going to be enough for that to happen for them. It's definitely huge, though. But I think Iowa and Ohio State are both too good, and Michigan State will be overlooked. So our next team is Miami. And they are going to have a big problem with their schedule again. It's the biggest problem. But other than that, they also have to break in 3 new guys on the offensive line, the center and both tackles. And last year, their offensive line was already bad. I mean, they gave up tons of sacks. Ja'Cory Harris rushed for negative yards, despite being a pretty legitimate dual threat to an extent. But Miami is stacked at skilled positions. They have Ja'Cory Harris, Greg Cooper at running back, and Travis Benjamin at wide receiver. And Benjamin can just run down the field, and Ja'Cory bombs the pass. And they score tons of touchdowns on deep plays like that. Now, also on the other side of the ball, they have cornerback Brandon Harris, who is an All-ACC selection. But he is, inconsistent to say,
Yeah.
You can't always say he's going to have the same season. He was a third-team All-American last year. You have to hope he continues the same success for their defense to have that kind, for their team to have the kind of success they need. With 6 hard teams on the schedule, they have at Ohio State Week 2, Week 4 at Pittsburgh, Week 5 at Clemson, Week 6 Florida State at home, Week 11 at Georgia Tech, Week 12 Virginia Tech at home. You just look at it, it's a total gauntlet. I see Miami this year 9-3. Ohio State's a loss, Florida State's a loss. It's a close game, but Christian Ponder's just too much, and he's better than Ja'Cory Harris. And Week 12 Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's a good team. They slaughtered them last year. And I think they'll beat them again. It'll be a much closer game. And the ACC title will probably be on the line, but I think Virginia Tech will pull off that victory as well.
Miami, very talented team, but the schedule, I think, is the only thing holding them back this season. At Ohio State, I think they can pull it out of the hat. At Pittsburgh, I don't think that they're going to be dead tired from this Ohio State game still after 2 weeks, so I think Pittsburgh takes it to them with Deion Lewis. At Clemson, I think that Miami can make a comeback and take down Clemson. Week 6 versus Florida State. Even though it's at home, I think that this rivalry, Florida State's going to be up at the top more than Miami at this point, I think. So I think Florida State has more to fight for. They will win this game. At Georgia Tech, I really like Josh Nesbitt this year. I think that Georgia Tech can do it. And versus Virginia Tech, I think that Virginia Tech can still beat them. I mean, it's going to be a close game either way. So I have them going either 9-3 or 8-4. I'm really tossed up on this Virginia Tech game. It's a very close game. The number 14 team in the country, Penn State Nittany Lions. Not much to say about these guys. They lost Darrell Clark. That's the big thing. They still have Evan Royster, though. Very good running back. He had 1,169 rushing yards last season, but only 6 touchdowns. He has to work on that if he wants Penn State to go to a BCS Bowl or even the Capital One Bowl at this point. Offensive line, they got to prove themselves. It was young last season. It didn't work out for Darrell Clark's senior year, his prime. And if it comes through, I think that Evan Royster could have a breakout season. And who knows, maybe they can make a run for it. But I really don't see Penn State being that good this season. Week 2, obviously, at Alabama. Week 5, at Iowa. And Week 10, at Ohio State. I have all 3 of them losing. And I have, since it's the Big Ten, there's going to be a team like Northwestern or Michigan State that is going to knock them off, I think. So 8-4 is my prediction.
Yeah, well, I see to your point the loss of Darrell Clark, but Evan Royster coming back is big. And even though 6 touchdowns last year is pretty lame, he's going to break the Penn State all-time career rushing record. He's only 400-something and change out of that, which is a big accomplishment. So he could be a big factor this year. You never know. But even with that said, I think they lose all 3 of those games: Alabama, Iowa, Ohio State, no matter what. And after that, you look down the line, I think they could definitely lose to a team like Michigan State or Northwestern, or even Michigan. Michigan seems to beat them quite a bit. And I'll put them at 8-4. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on the other upsets, simply because they're Penn State and you don't bet against Penn State. So That said, we go on to number 15, the final team, the Pittsburgh Panthers, who are way under the radar. They're not even on the radar. And Deion Lewis will be back. He's the running back. Almost rushed for 1,800 yards last year as a freshman. So watch out. He's going to be a big deal. They only return half their starters, 11 out of 22. That's a bit of a problem. That's a concern, the leadership, the seniority. They do, however, return another defensive end who's kind of a diamond in the rough, is Greg Ramos. He had 15.5 sacks and 27 tackles for loss in his last 2 seasons combined. So the sacks aren't as big a deal, but when you put that together with the tackles for loss, you can see that he is a force, and he will probably improve this year and could really help his career and come onto the spotlight. They also have an easy schedule, which they benefit from. Week 4, Miami at home. I think they lose that game, like I said before. They get at Notre Dame Week 6, and then second to last game, West Virginia. I think they beat Notre Dame, despite the fact that Notre Dame could actually be a better team this year. Not a BCS or bust like they hope. Brian Kelly saying, BCS or bust. Yeah, all right. And then second to last game, West Virginia. I think they will lose. It's a rivalry. You never know what can happen in those games. You think back a couple of years ago, Pat White streams were smashed. I think they lose that game. They go 10-2. And Deion Lewis has a stellar season.
Oh, I think Pittsburgh's a very good team this season, based around Deion Lewis, the freshman phenom last year. He's coming into his sophomore year. It should be very good for him. Not so easy schedule in Week 4, but other than that, it's pretty simple for them. They're in the Big East. Week 4, I have them beating Miami. I think Deion Lewis can take it to them after Miami's exhausted from Ohio State. At Notre Dame, I think they can beat, Brian Kelly's team. He's saying BCS or bust. It's more like just do better than the fat man. I don't want to get fired too. And, West Virginia, I think Pittsburgh can win this game too. I still see a chance, though, that Pittsburgh's going to go 11-1 just because it's the Big East, and you look back to the last teams in the few years, and, Big East teams have been representing, maybe going to the national title, and then, or even top ECS Bowl, and they get upset by a team like Rutgers or South Florida, or even Pittsburgh has made the upsets. So 11-1 is my prediction.
All right, well, those are our predictions for the teams 11 through 15, sorry. Stay tuned for our next few videos. We'll cover 16 through 20 and then 21 through 25. We'll also put up other videos. Check out our channel. We've got tons of different things. Give us suggestions. We got a suggestion recently and made a video based on that. So feel free to give us some suggestions, comment, give us some feedback, and thanks for watching.